who we will chat all things Factorio. Oh, also, chat, because people come late, and I understand people come late, and that's horrible that you come late. We can also talk about distractions if you want. It's a distraction.
Oh, hey there.
Hey there.
New here. Who this?
It's a cat. It's a kitten. It's a kitten.
Ah.
It's a Zaza. Not Zaza Binks. Zaza. Don't know why it was called Zaza, but it's called Zaza.
It just wants to be Zaza. Or maybe not Bings. Something
What?
close that.
When she said Zaza, I thought of the little toucan from Lion King. But that's Zazu. Yeah, it's a kitty. It's another kitty. We got another damn kitten. Although this
Another one to the menagerie.
This is the iPad child's kitten who said she's more than happy not to keep it if people don't pick up their game and, tidy up after the existing cats. Major Domo? No, it's a Major Mojo. Sorry, a Mojo Major. Major Mojo. All right. I haven't read the photo facts at all. Are they important?
It's more train stuff.
Yeah, I know it's more train stuff.
Whoever would have guessed that they redid the interrupts.
Oh, they changed it since they announced it.
Yeah. Made it better.
Okay. Category changed. Done that. Dyson Sphere. Just mute. Honestly, just mute. Oh, that is the wrong sound settings. It's the other sound settings. Mixer. I said Dyson Sphere had done a whole lot of optimizations and stuff. Ran way smoother. Yeah, it stopped doing that.
I was going to say, yeah, it didn't actually work.
Oh, it was.
Or did you just build big?
It was no. I haven't even got to big yet. Like I'm still around about the 10 science per minute, 15-ish. I have friends just looking over me. Holy crap, that's close. You're not quite inside plasma cannon range yet, but you're getting close, dude. V. Oh yeah, this is close approach. This is close approach. Do you ever just want to reach out and touch your friends? Oh, you already have a seed somewhere. Oh. No idea where that launched. Uh, 0.17, 0.17, 0.17. I keep pressing the wrong buttons. Oh, it's not quite close enough. It's not quite close enough to be inside cannon range.
I do like how you get. Oh, that's the dark fog. But I do like how intimidatingly close you can get the Dyson spheres.
The one on the next planet, the next one I built is hard up against the planet. Like hard up against it. I move the cannons in by like a meter at a time to try and get it as close as possible. Because that seems appropriate. All right. Don't touch your friends with plasma cannons. Well, technically,
they're friendship cannons.
And this is why Alpha Hive is missing all its ships. Even though it's the one actually farming matter on the homeworld, it sailed too close to the base once or twice, and I took off. And if it's below half an AU, they'll attack you straight away. And having a planet there as defense sort of helps. But yeah, it's got barges. It's sending barges off to Old Hope to try and get more matter. And it has matter income. It just doesn't hang around. Actually, I probably should have clicked on it while it was that close to see how much matter it did not have. All right, so Friday facts. Friday facts. Okay, or kittens. We can talk about kittens or Friday facts. Okay.
To quote the Friday facts, it gets a bit boring and tedious.
Schedule interrupts allows you to control your trains, views, and conditions of targets. Played with the schedule interrupts extensively and work very well for controlling a large number of trains and train systems. One major small annoyance crime. You need to add an interrupt for each type of item manually. So when you want to train to handle an iron gear wheel, you need to create a new interrupt specifying if you have iron gear wheel, go to iron gear wheel drop off. Okay, hang on. I haven't read any further. So the scheduler is now not a train, but it's a group of trains. And there's
well, it was always a group of. It's a set of orders that could be applied to a group of trains.
yeah, but it used to be just a train.
Yes.
A train, a order.
A train.
Now it's a line of trains, so a train line that can have multiple
Yes.
trains in the line, and
All with the same orders.
Yeah, all with the same orders. Yep. And they're saying the frustrating part was that if you wanted your line of trains to handle more than one item, you needed to manually add an extra item for your 30 trains once, so it would be applied 30 times. Is that what they've said so far?
What they're saying is that there's no way to have a condition based on based on any item.
But no. So before we had a train with a set of orders. Now we have a train line that could be one train, it could be 30 trains that all share the same orders.
Yes.
And now, if you wish to add a new thing to your line of trains, that could be one train, could be 30 trains, you would need to manually specify one thing in the interrupt list once that could be applied to one train, not 30 trains, correct?
All it is, so, I mean, not really, but...
I'm pretty sure the answer is correct, whereas previously, going in the current Factorio, we would need to add that manually to 30 trains 30 times.
Well, you wouldn't actually have to, because you just shift right-click, shift left-click. You would copy-paste the orders.
True. If you could track down all the damn trains. Okay.
If you read further, it might make more sense.
Probably. So it gets a bit boring and to use adding new interrupts, Adam mine and gold clear. If you have X item, go to X drop off. So exactly what we did in new special wildcard called any item. What?
So instead of adding 500 interrupts for every item in the game, you add an any wildcard that says go to this matching drop instead of the same item.
So rather than going to iron ore input.
Yeah, instead of saying go to if you have iron ore, go to iron ore drop or iron ore inputs. If you have copper, go to copper. If you have coal, go to coal. Instead, you have this one order that deals with all of that.
Okay.
Because
Transvalue interrupt uses the any signal and checks the interrupt conditions against each item in the cargo. First one passes will be the passing item in the interrupt. Passing will replace any item in the interrupt and the target name and target weight conditions. It's also similar for any fluid, any fuel, any signal. Using the signals, the interrupt is more generalized, the hands off, ensuring you have your train stops named consistently. So you can now change that to go to... How generalized can you make this?
I think it does narrow down what you can name train stops, but it does mean that instead of having 30 or 40 interrupts, you only need one.
It's a universal unload order. Looks at the stations, the item to unload, and go there and empty it. So it's looking for item name input, basically.
So whatever's in the cargo, if it matches that, it goes to the. You can tell it to go to any train stop with that item. That's what the picture says.
So if any item does not equal 0, targets any item drop. So it's actually referred to as an any item drop. And the cargo equals 0.
Yes. Then it leaves.
So you can now go to... So you could now have a train limit on all your outposts. Let's assume you did that. And the train limit is tied to it having enough cargo in the outpost to fully load a train. So then you can set the trains go to any item. No, because the any item is looking for the cargo of the train. So you still have to do all your different inputs for outposts. And in this case, they've also got iron, copper, a dedicated iron smelter, dedicated copper smelter, green circuits, red circuits, bricks, plastic.
Yeah.
And then...
Instead of having all those, you just have one.
No, because these are inputs. The trains are not going to have anything on it.
Yes, that's correct.
So all your inputs still have to be done. But if they've all got a train limit set to, hey, if there's not enough stuff in the boxes ready to load onto a train, have the station turned off situation.
Well, the inputs are unloads in the picture. Just to make it extra confusing for you.
The inputs are what?
The inputs are where the resources are delivered to in the picture.
Oh my god.
Because you're inputting resources.
Okay.
This one's broken you.
Yep. Yep. Okay. But this only reads from the cargo of the train.
Yes. So it goes to and stop, picks up cargo, and then the interrupt says, okay, you've got this, now go there.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of a really, really universal system. And the universal system would be go to every outpost plus the iron smelter to get iron plates and copper
So
smelter
every
and
pickup
everything.
would be named the same. So they'll all be just be labeled output or pickup.
That all
things.
you could literally name everything input, and it would just pick the first input of the list as long as the station was open. Therefore, it has enough to load the train, and then every single thing would be called item name drop, and it would just go to, if it picks up iron ore, it would go to an iron ore drop station and just drop off all the iron ore.
Well, in the case of this one, you would name all the places where the train load is input, and then the interrupt to deliver the cargo would be input, and then the cargo, because you're just using input everywhere, regardless of what it actually means and the context.
Ooh.
And also because it confuses you even more.
Yes, thanks.
It's entertaining.
Thanks, that's helping. Hi Jerry, watched YouTube for years and never been able to donate as I've been in debt for too long a time. 2 months ago, what? Oh, Streamlabs, you suck. Streamlabs, you suck. Come back, Streamlabs. Work properly. No, that's not the right button. Okay, cool. Can I make that go away? Close current address. Back, refresh. No. Docs, turn off that. Docs, Streamlabs is broken. Cool. Copy. It's unbroken. Maybe, possibly. 2 months ago was my last payment. Today is the day I finally get to say thank you for the entertainment. Zinluz Gweldig. Thank you. I'm glad to hear you're out of debt. That's way more important than anything else. As somebody who has been in debt just once, it sucked.
Oh yes. It
sucked. But I'm glad you've got life back on order. That's very important. When I met Ceci, she was in debt. One of the first things I did was just paid out everything. Then she got herself in more debt, and I just paid out everything again. I'm fucking sick of it. So what, huh? Finish reading before I theory crafting. Fine, I'll finish reading. Okay. Interrupt conditions cargo. First one passes will be able to pass it for the interrupt. The passing will replace any item in the interrupt and target name, target weight conditions. Okay. We also have a similar signal for any fluid, any item, any signal, more generalized hands off. Okay. What else do I do? Have personal battery equipment Mark II drop off. Make one. Game failsafe stops don't exist. 1.1. If a train stop doesn't exist or is disabled, this train stop is completely skipped, ignored in the schedule, whereas currently it just stops in the middle of the track. If it doesn't exist or is disabled, the train will loop. Yeah.
If it can, otherwise it will just slam to a stop.
Slam to a stop. Train
that was always the problem with enable, disable.
Yeah. Change trains that will go no path. What? So in 2.0, we've changed it so trains will no path for stops that don't exist. Goes to a no path state. But if it goes to a no path state, it just sits there in the middle of the track and stops, hard stops. Hard stops. It's still hard stops for a no path. It doesn't slow down gradually. It just instant stops. Like you put.
Yeah, that's not changing.
Picked up the track in front of it. Okay. But at least from the looks of that, we'll now have a notification down the bottom right hand corner rather than a train that's sitting there randomly on the train track going no path, no path, no path, no path.
Keep reading.
Okay. Does it skip or disable? Stop with no. Disabling stops normally cause trains to skip the stations and repath. We had the skipping behavior in the game for a long time, but effectively using it was always a bit janky.
My friend.
When we added train limits in 1.1. Kind of noobish. How you doing? If you're in 1985, if that's why the 85's on the end, I think you're a little bit over at noobish. I think you should have experience by now. You change the name to kind of bad gamer because that's what I go with. What? Skip behavior for long always been a bit janky. If disable a stop whilst train is en route, the train may be variable in a position where it can't repath anywhere. Just turning the corner to arrive. Causes no path sticking into the main line, causing chaos for the rest of the routes. Disabled train stops will act as if they have a train limit of 0. If the train is on the way and the stop is disabled, it will continue to the stop regardless. If the train is going to a disabled stop, it will enter the destination full state and wait till it's enabled. So, same thing still applies, right? If you have multiple trains and they have a destination full state, they stop mid-track, don't they? If they're going iron ore pickup, iron ore drop off, and iron ore drop off hits a full state, they just stop mid-track.
That's using the train stop limits. In that case, no, they'll keep going. Train stop limits don't switch in the middle. They just keep they're already committed. It's only
they can't. So we can't. It can't add a new train. So if there's already 5 trains on the way to a station, and you change the train stop limit from 5 to 1, the 5 trains that are already on the way continue going.
They'll continue coming. Yes. And now they've changed it so that if you disable it, instead of everything just slamming to a stop, it behaves the same as setting it to 0, which is actually very useful.
Yeah, because it's not at all I've ever had a train station like disable and had another train roll through a train because it suddenly stopped without warning. Yeah.
Or something goes wrong with the circuit conditions and you have a train doing a dance on the main line where it moves forward a few millimeters and slams to a stop again.
Oh, because you've got the
60 times a second.
Yeah, flicky on and off every... Yep. Yep. Okay, and for example, Artillery Outpost just read how much ammo is left and only enable to stop if the ammo is empty. This way you don't need to include in combinations to translate the lack of ammo and train limit. Okay, yep, so they've made things a little bit easier. Alert for no path. Yeah, I already called that.
Yeah, they alluded to it.
Another noise becomes...
It doesn't really tell anything. The icon isn't very telling of what it means.
It's a question mark with 3 arrows. I'm guessing the question mark doesn't know which way to go.
Yeah, it's just...
That's a pretty good no path. Like, don't get me wrong, the word no path would have been probably more accurate and helpful. But yeah.
It's not the one that I don't like, though.
Why? Which one do you like? Or haven't it?
Reading.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Okay. Another noise that becomes more clear is large train system, panic creating, dispatching new trains with the ability to blueprint trains, almost painless. Some manually need to set them in automatic mode. Now, when we blueprint a train is fully built, importantly, including fuel requests, it will switch to automatic mode. I get a video.
Oh yeah, there's a video. I didn't look at the video.
We pasted some trains. They all took off. Somebody remembered signals, otherwise bad things would happen instantly.
Little trains, they'll be fine.
Look, they'll break, and then, eventually some modder will add an ability to, have trains get ghosted back together on a train track, and then your 8 trains or something turn into 16 trains, because some of them got dissected. Never need to add another 5, 10, 20 trains to stamping down the train blueprint as many times as needed. No manual intervention necessary. Quite a few inconsistencies with blueprinting trains, such as bugs, unexpected behaviors, which made it a little bit unreliable. If the schedule and the blueprint would actually stick to the new train, if all the wagons would connect correctly, so it fixed all the cases we could find for 2.0. Oh, that's nice. As somebody who walks around often with nothing in their inventory and blueprints everything, including trains, that did exist 20 seconds ago and now suddenly don't for some reason. Yeah, I've noticed some inconsistencies. Trains journey for first stations close to them with static routes and limits. System worked okay when you have individual train routes for each item. Always some consistent level of service for that item. We had 10 iron mines and 3 iron trains. Always have some trains working on that route. However, generic schedules and one big bag of trains. This is like... So I haven't finished reading, and I will keep reading, but this sounds like somebody who's built a bot base and has only put 300 Logibots in the network. Just not enough Logibots to move everything around. So the things that happen closest to one another get done, and the things further away don't get done. Normally far away. Another motivation here was the situation decommissioning old stations when trains to go to stop. Or at stop to get out of here, but oftentimes I just sit and go, well, my destination falls. Another goal is when I tell a train to go somewhere manually, I wouldn't have priority. So we added the feature of train stop priority. Oh, okay, so we can now have another slider we can drag up.
Hopefully we can set that with a circuit network.
I imagine so. Default priority 5, players can adjust the
I
number.
say that, but I've already sort of figured out a way. Oh, it was a happy accident, but it figured out a way around it.
Around the priority or around the not
Around
enough
the priority.
bots in the Logi network? Because that's essentially what they've turned the trains into. They've turned them into Logi bots.
I mean, that's kind of what they always were.
Well, no, they were...
Colking great player flattening Logibots.
But they were not. They were not a Logibot. They were a direct belt from A to B. They were a high capacity throughput belt from A to B. All right, LTN turned them into Logibots, where you'd have a bag of trains that lived in a depot and they go places and do things. Right. Whereas this is much more of a Logibot network, where they just go out and do things. So the slider goes from 10 to 90. But you can be more precise with the text field. And they also added the ability to set the priority used in the circuit network. So he didn't read it either.
I just forgot it.
Images are more universal. Bisected is the correct verb. Sure. Verbs. English. Hard. Words. Yes. When a player manually tells a train to go somewhere, it gets 255. When a train has no path to destination, fall in the middle of the tracks, not waiting at a stop signal. So it gets a priority of 255 when it has no path? Oh, because it's in the way. So it gets... No. What? So the train gets a priority. So train stops have a priority of 0 to 255.
Yes.
And then a train has a priority of 255 when it's told to go somewhere.
Yeah, if you manually tell it to go to somewhere, then the next stop gets a priority of 255. Or the train gets... No, it'd be the stop that gets a priority of 255.
That's what I'm thinking. It's the stop that gets a priority of 255.
Hang on, is the stop or the train?
Well, it says the train,
That's why I'm confused.
but it would be the
Yeah.
stop.
It would be the next stop the train's going to. But you can't... I don't know.
Why 255? Because that's the max. Because 256 is too much. Too much. The game says no. 255 is good enough.
256 is... more bits.
The temporary stop. See, okay, so the temporary stop, but the temporary stop is not a priority at 255 because temporary stop.
Only one train can go to it.
A temporary stop is the train was told to go there. It ignores everything else. Everything else in the schedule doesn't exist. What's the highest priority? 0, 255, 255. Can't just be 100? No, because the slider goes from 10 to 90.
But
So
you can manually type in more
you
values.
can manually type in different values. So the idea is a normal player has some sort of flexibility, but then if you want to get more advanced, you can then type in set values if you want. I think it's the train stop. But then this still doesn't make sense. This still doesn't make sense. Train stops have a default priority of 50. Players can adjust to any number they want. The slider in the train stop suggests a value from 10 to 90, but you can be more precise with text field. Also, ability to set the priority using the circuit network. Additionally, some specifications where trains giving the absolute max priority of 255. When a player manually tells the train to go somewhere, and when a train has a no path or destination fall in the middle of the tracks. So I'm guessing they get a priority 255 when searching for the next destination. That's the only way I can translate that. So when a player manually tells the train to go somewhere, it gets a priority of 255 to look for that stop, which obviously it's the only one going there, so obviously it gets that stop over anybody else. And when a train has no path or a destination full, it has a priority of 255 for looking for the next stop. That it's a valid stop, I guess. The stop has a call strength of 255. Sure, but it says train. It says train twice. So I'm confused. The destination gets a priority 255 is what they're saying. Yeah, that's what yeah. I suspect the train leaving a station inherits the priority of the station it's leaving. If more than one possible destination, the priority matters for picking up which station. Can you vary set via logic? Yes. You can improve the priority with a clock. Increase 1 for each 10 seconds of not receiving items. Maybe. Typo. Maybe. Their next stop. What? Default priority 5. Silent train stops. Set the priority next. The next stop gets a priority of 255. Trains are given an absolute max priority of 255. It doesn't say their next stop. $255, $255. Nope. Nope. Unless you're reading a different page than I'm reading. Nope. So icons for trains. Flying text pop up saying no path to station full. Value information also felt a bit ugly and distracting. Seeing them in screenshots. Yeah. Player icon drawn over locomotive. We add the trains as the GUI and tooltips. No path icon. Destination full is just a solid icon in alt mode. These should make it easy to tell at a glance which trains up to. Without having to go to mental pause to verify there is no flying text. Notification coming soon. Okay. So the additions are We changed interrupts, so we have an any symbol.
They didn't change interrupts. They added wildcard objects, I guess you could call them.
Yeah, we add an any symbol.
For any, or they actually added several. So there's any item,
Any fuel, any signal.
any fuel, any fluid.
Yeah.
And any item, any fuel and any
So
fluid.
priorities are set on the station when they really apply for the trains that go in that station. When a train gets a priority 255, means the train treats the next stop as having a priority 255. Is I feel what they're getting at. If there's more than one open station at the station, the highest priority one is picked. There is only one open station. The train at the station, the highest priority will be one that moves. Also, if a train isn't at a station, then it's going to be a station with priority 255. If more than one open station, the station of the highest priority is being picked. Yes. If there is only one open station,
Like a boss.
and then the train at a station with the highest priority will be the one that moves. If there's a train looking for orders and has nothing to do, then it would be the one with the highest priority. Sure. Also, if a train isn't at a station that is considered to be a station with a priority of 255. Yes. But you have interrupts, and you also have the interrupts, which they added the interrupts that could change a train order halfway through a train order if it ran out of fuel halfway through the train order. Yep. Is that Mr. Howner here in the background? Nope, that is a Mojo. Is a Mojo for the Friday Facts. And Call of Duty, yes, 41 months. Welcome back, sir. I'm
sure the wording of that has changed from when I first read it as well. I'm trying to look it up because I'm sure it was more clearer. Like it was different. It actually specifically stated when I first saw it.
Train control improvements. Edit interrupts. Generic trains. Depot problem. Interrupts and interrupts. So there's an interrupt and an interrupt.
Yes, an interrupting interrupt for fuel.
Yeah, which clears the usual interrupt and places a new interrupt target. Interrupts only occur in stations. Interrupts only occur at stations, so the priority of the station still applies to the interrupt. Is a train not at a station, so priority 255. Normally when interrupt are activated, other interrupts won't be able to feed it until it's finished, but in some specific cases, this is too limiting, so we added another special interrupt condition called interrupt. This allows the interrupt to trigger whilst another interrupt is in progress, which clears the original interrupt and replaces it with a new interrupt target. Nuggets? I disagree. Previous Friday Facts say that whilst the train is between A and B, it can divert to C. Not a problem, Stone. We'll see the result of the Friday Facts discussion in the morning. Yeah, it's 10 a.m. now. It probably won't hit YouTube for 4 hours. Hopefully.
It'll take JD that long to finish talking.
Shh. Yeah, it's not the word I have in mind when seeing a deep dive into the train logistics. This is not interesting NE expansion feature. No, I'm trying to understand the feature. Okay? And the wording.
Bug.
The wording is bad.
Yeah, the wording all the way through is bad. It's a bit rough.
This is how interrupts work in computing as well. Interrupts can interrupt interrupts. Yeah, I know interrupts can interrupt interrupts. All right? I know there's
Unless
a lot
it's
of...
non-maskable.
What?
Unless it's non-masking.
A non-masking interrupt.
Yes, an NMI.
Okay. That one I haven't encountered yet. There's a lot of overlap between how the web devs do things and how Factorio does things. An awful lot of overlap. But the phrasing for trains are given the max priority of 255 when a player manually tells the train to go somewhere. Okay, so the train has a priority of 255 to go somewhere. That makes sense. Okay, sure. It's a dedicated station. That's the only train that can go there. So obviously that train has to go there because no other train can go there because it's a manual go-to temporary stop. Although temporary stops now shareable, are they not?
I don't actually remember now.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
Tom!
If it was mentioned, it wasn't mentioned recently.
Tom, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Thank you for adding to the follow account. We're getting close. Getting close to that all-important follow account. Okay, so we only had one on the train so far, which was the interrupts.
I've had like 4 train ones now.
Really? Interrupts are very simple. Checks the interrupts one by one. If conditions are filled, the interrupt activate and targets are pasted in the country schedule as temporary stops. Temporary stops.
So the priority thing just means that the closest stop won't get lumped with all the trains. So, like, if you have 2 stops, one close, or if you have 3 stops, one close, one medium, one far, if you have all the same priority, all of them will go to 1 until it hits train stop limit, or there's too many to clog it, that clogs it up to the point where it spills over into the second one, which then it clogs up, and then spills over to the third one.
Yes. You can apply hotspots to the map to make sure that trains don't just do all the local deliveries and they do the ones further away by applying a weighting to it. Yeah, I understand that.
That's all the priority is.
But you're applying that to the train stop, not to the train. It says
Yes.
the trains are given an absolute max priority of 255. When the player manually tells the train where to go, that's the train stop, because it's a manual station for a temporary stop at 255. It's the only train that can go there. That makes sense. And when a train has no path or destination full in the middle of the tracks, i.e. not waiting at a stop, how does the train get a priority at 255? Because the train stops, they've already said the train stops have a priority up to 255, but not the train.
There's only so much brain power you can commit to an inconsistent wording.
Let's say trains going station A at 8, and this sounds like a maths question, from a station with priority 254 or lower, and if you send the train to another station 8 manually, it'll take priority, I think is what they're saying.
A train with a priority of 255 is travelling east towards the iron unload, and then a train with a priority of 127 is heading west to the copper smelter. How long until they collide with each other?
That might get included in the Friday Facts video. Yep, post credits, just tag that bit of audio on the end. But read the first bit. Also applies for priority for dispatching. Okay. When searching for a destination, trains will prefer a higher priority train stop. Yep. When trains are trying to leave a stop, trains at stops with higher priorities are dispatched first. Okay. So trains at stops with a higher priority are dispatched first. So in theory, a train sitting around doing nothing has maximum priority. So it hopefully gets the first assignment. Hopefully. Okay. Sure. Because it has nothing to do. But I'm assuming that you haven't manually told a train to go somewhere and it's got to the middle of the track and then there are no orders left, so it has nothing to do. So it's sitting in the middle of the track doing no path or destination full. Is there proper signaling on the rails? That was the first question chat has for Mojo's little maths assignment.
Exam will be in 2 weeks' time.
Although I understood it, but Jenny has convinced me I don't and nothing makes sense. Cool. That's why we talk through these things. This is why the Friday Facts take so long. After a while, you just learn to ignore him and his logic. Hey, that's rude and nasty. And probably true.
And pretty accurate, because it's probably why I'm here.
Trains don't have a priority. The stops have a priority, and the train goes to who has the highest priority. Yes. So, but the train stops have a priority, and the train inherits The train, when picking its next destination, chooses it according to the priority of the station it's at. A temporary train stop has a priority 255, not for any other reason, but to assign it to the train to make sure the train gets the fuck off the main rail, right, or the main tracks, and goes somewhere else after it's finishing manually going somewhere because you don't have a depot, because in theory in this new system you don't need a depot. Also, if a train gets stuck no pathing because you fuck something up, in theory it gets priority 255, so it buggers off and doesn't sit in main rails. That's what it actually means. Okay. Fuzzy logic. Thanks.
There you go.
There you go. All else fails. Fuzzy logic. Which I don't know if I have to feed that. I'm assuming I do. I'm assuming she didn't tell me if I did. She did not tell me if I did. Good. She also didn't tell me whether it's already been fed. King, tape measure. You can't. Tape measure is not something you can take into combat. Okay, you can take robots into combat. You can take just about any one of the emotes into combat, including, I believe, GDTs. I'm not sure about that one. But there are definitely times. I feel like I'm going to battle crying. Okay. Alright. Interrupts to our interrupts with our interrupts.
I'm surprised no one's taking a lift monk.
A lift monk? What? What gibberish are you going on with?
Oh dear.
What do you mean, oh dear?
You bring a lift monk with you, and you give it a submachine gun, and then you call in its special ability, and it sits on your head and shoots other pals.
Oh, okay, it's a Powell thing. I haven't
Yes.
I haven't played Powell. Sorry.
It's basically a little possum or squirrel that you can give a submachine gun to.
Possums are way more deadly.
That's why I think of it as a possum.
Manually commands also include when you click the get the fuck out of here button. Hang on, I should know where the get the fuck out of here button is. Do we ever get at the fuck out of here button?
I don't remember seeing a specific go button. Unless it is the manual press the button to go to the next stop. I think that's what it means.
So to go iron or pick up, when you do that, regardless of what was going on the train, is considered 255. Should any openings have a move before others had a good reason to give that order? Okay, yeah. Trains no pathing and serves the clear stuck commands. The train and works to clear stuck trains out of the main line. Yeah. It's just the wording. The wording is bad, and it's one of the things about the Friday Facts. It all depends on who writes it. It's written by Clonan, so I would expect probably a little bit. But Clonan's Australian, isn't he?
British. He's usually pretty good, but yeah, he can get a bit wonky at times.
I thought Clonan from the UK. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Clonan's normally pretty good, but there are definitely times. There are definitely times when you can tell he's probably not talking as much English as he probably should. It's one of those things that will truly grasp how it works when we need to get our hands on it for ourselves. Yes and no. I try to do as many of the Friday Facts and cover the Friday Facts. So normally when they come out, I have a pretty good idea of how these things work before I ever get to physically play with them. Just like I did the same for Captain of History, which we were talking about earlier. Because I read and reread and even did the videos on everything coming in update 1, I knew a lot of the content. I had early access. I booted up to get screenshots and B-roll footage, but I hadn't played it. But I knew how a lot of it worked before I even got a chance to play with it. Same as in Capital Industry, they posted some of the images for how the nuclear fuel reprocessing worked for version or for update 1. And I deciphered on stream. We deciphered all the recipe icons and how the whole thing worked before they told us, because they left enough tidbits in there. Now the ads are done. I can get back to listening to something important. That you just missed that. Metal Flatters, you missed that. That was the ads. This is where you come for the garbage. Sorry, I meant for the stream. There are also times when you're too familiar with the topic, you forget to mention certain pieces. Oh, that happens all the time. I'm generally pretty good at it, but yeah. But like trying to teach Sassy, what was it? Copy recipe, machine to machine, and control click to bring up stacks. That one's easy because that's been copied to many games. But the shift right click, control left click, shift left click, whatever, to copy recipes, that's different every game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun, isn't it? When it's different every time.
It's different every time, and I get used to it being different every game, mostly. Like, I was playing Shapes 2. You know Shapes 2 demo's out, right?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
There's not... You get to play with Shapes, you get to see some of the new features. They don't have painting in it yet. That's not in the demo.
Oh.
But it's worth checking out. Definitely worth checking out. But it's C, you have to highlight the item and then press C to copy it. Not Q. And it's shift, then click and drag to select the area. And there's not a long, the current delay between pressing shift and clicking is higher than I expect. So I press shift and click at the same time. And as far as the game was concerned, I did the too close to one another, so it just did the left click and ignored the shift part. Yeah. And that sort of timing comes down to Unity. It turns out that's a feature in Unity. Okay. Also, a big part of bad wording is he knows how the code works, and there are some consecutive elements of the code that didn't make in the Friday Facts attempt to keep things simpler and shorter. It is, the wording is technically correct, but it's just a bad way of wording it. So yes, it does say when trains leave a stop, the trains at the stop with a higher priority get dispatched first. All right. And it should be worded something along the lines of, yeah, trains get the priority copied to them to make sure that they're the first ones to get out there. Unity has features. Unity has many features. It also has many problems. But they fired the CEO because, you know, they needed somebody to land on the sword, so to speak. And then they got somebody new who also left. And then, yeah, Unity. Okay. All right, Friday Facts, yeah?
Yeah, probably sometime soon. I don't know.
Sometime soon. I'm the one that's going to put up with a wedding later.
Oh. You're just delaying it, are you?
It's the partner's mother. So the mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law's having a wedding.
Yeah, she's been with the same guy for like 20 years, roughly.
Just never actually formally married?
Yeah, she's been married once and ended in divorce, so never got around to getting married a second time. Meanwhile, her father has remarried, but her mother never bothered. So, yeah, they finally got engaged on their anniversary.
The 20-year anniversary.
No, their anniversary. So he didn't have to remember multiple dates. Now they're also getting married on their anniversary. So he didn't have to remember multiple dates. Because, you know, big brain. For legal tax reasons? No, God, no. God, no. No. Australia doesn't have the whole thing where if you get divorced, the guy has to pay the woman, whatever it's called, for years until they get remarried.
The support, yeah.
We don't have that. You got to pay for children, whether you're married or not, but not the, what do they call it? I don't know what it's called in the US. Alimony. Yeah, we don't have that.
We have sort of equivalent, but it's not. But it's handled differently.
We don't have alimony. We have.
Oh yeah, we don't have. Yeah, we don't have a direct equivalent, but there is stuff there depending on the outcome of the divorce and such.
Unless you get something custom written in, you basically you're divorced and that's it. Like if she worked for 5 years whilst you got an education for 5 years, then she can argue that more of the assets are hers because she was the only one earning income, and vice versa. All right. But yeah, no, there's no alimony here. It's a good way to make you pay for kids. You have to pay for kids, but that gets ruled all the time. Alimony is children only here, but there is a money priority split if they merge these things. Yep. As long as the wife can't steal it and keep it from the kids. Well, it's paid to the ex-partner, so you know they can spend it responsibly for the children. In theory. Like, I'm on the receiving end. I have both the girls and their mothers, in theory, meant to pay me. And, yeah, let's just leave that there, because that definitely works as intended. I think it's $8 a fortnight. Massive numbers. Massive numbers. That's $8 dues per fortnight. Not even a US dollar. Here in Germany, also, range is mostly done for legal medical reasons. There's a marriage. It's still... There's a... Marriage is still stronger if somebody is getting very ill. Okay, that makes less sense. But yeah, I know in the US you can have alimony that goes on for years and people will choose not to get remarried because they have that side income because they were once married, which is weird. Weird.
People are weird.
So the partner can give medical instructions.
Power
Oh,
of attorney, I think.
okay, yeah. So here in Germany,
Medical power of attorney.
is here in Germany, marriages are mostly done for legal reasons, i.e., you instantly get medical decisions. So like power of attorney, yeah. Weird is just the US, 100%. Here you end up in a real grey area, because if I go to the hospital with Sassy and she needs a decision made, in theory, she's filled out her next of kin paperwork. If she hasn't, then they go off whatever her next of kin paperwork was last time she came in, assuming she's going to a hospital she's already been at once before. Otherwise, it goes to her parents, assuming they can get hold of them, or whoever brought them in and sort of takes ownership. We have spouse maintenance, alimony in Australia, but it's regardless of marriage. I have never heard a spousal maintenance here. But there you go.
As I say, it's a thing, but it's different.
Okay, I've never heard of it, never
We
dealt
don't
with
call
it.
it alimony.
Don't know if it's common. I guess it's not. I haven't heard of it. Everywhere is weird. It's just the US broadcasts much of its culture through the media. It tends to be a point of comparison. It is 100%. All right. So, you good, Mojo?
Almost. The only comment I was going to say is that it's actually US culture broadcasting has actually diminished in the last, comparatively in the last 15 years. It's actually nice. I mean, at the same time, everything's sort of converged. So it's all sort of made into one common thing.
It's less so because we have better exposure to not US stuff. Like going back 15 years, 20 years, all the TV in Australia would be US. A majority of it. Majority of TV shows were US based.
There used to be more prominent local stuff before like 2010. Around that era period. Prime time was different though. Prime time was dominated.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Prime time, like
I don't care about prime time.
Well, that's what people do care about. 6 p.m. TV onwards was guaranteed to be US
News.
Well,
news.
News followed by US broadcasts. Yeah, US TV shows, all that
Simpsons
sort of stuff.
Repeats at 6:30. New Simpsons at 7:30 Wednesdays usually.
See,
That's all I cared about.
he watched far too much
Same
TV.
with Futurama.
He watched far too much TV.
Top Gear was 7:30.
Farscape, that was the thing. It was AU. Yeah, but the Farscape's like years ago.
Farscape has a very comical history of scheduling.
Farscape was not shown in the correct order in Australia.
No, never shown at the same time slot twice in Australia.
Yeah, it was an Australian thing, but it was shown all over the place, different nights, different time slots in Australia. So consequently, they wonder why nobody watched it. Yeah, my sympathy for that. Yeah, it was a good show. My first daughter grew up watching it in front of the computer whilst drinking a bottle. At the age where they laid on you and had a bottle. Yeah, we're talking like newborn. 5 seasons, 7 seasons, how many seasons is? I was binge watching that at the time. Anyway, Friday Facts. Okay. G'day, mate, and welcome to the Friday Facts number 395. Generic interrupts and train stop parade. Yes. I brought my generic friend with me. How you doing, Mojo?
Hello, non-specific greeting.
Thanks.
What was the the generic race from Futurama?
I don't know. I haven't seen Futurama, and I just lost 10 subscribers. I've never got around to watching it. Okay. I go for another 10 subscribers here. I haven't watched all of The Simpsons either. Yeah.
Raise pitchforks in chat.
Oh, look, I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. All right. So we have another Friday Facts, and this one's all about trains again. So we had the new schedule interrupts only a couple of weeks ago, 2 months ago. Allows you to control your trains using conditions and target destinations. They've played with the train schedule apps extensively. They work very well for controlling a large number of trains and train systems. One small problem, annoyance, crime, you might say, is you need to add an interrupt for each type of item manually. So if you want the train to handle an iron gear wheel, you need to create a new interrupt specifying if you have an iron gear wheel, go to iron gear wheel station drop off. So, quick recap. Currently in Factorio, if I have 30 trains doing 30 same operations, i.e. pick up iron ore, drop it at iron ore drop off station so I can go through the smelter, I need to copy that order through all 30 trains. Now we have a train line, so I can have 30 trains that have the same line information. So they can
all share the same orders. So if you edit one, it updates all.
It updates all of them. And then the interrupts is a above and beyond where you can give special orders that will jump to the top of the queue. And I think the best way to think about it is if you run low on fuel, go to a fuel station and get fuel. That's pretty much where it started at.
Yeah, that's pretty much the starting point.
Yeah.
The idea is that you can then, they're conditional interrupts. So instead of following the list in sequence, you can have it jump around its order list.
Yeah, so rather than it going and doing all the iron, then all the copper, then all the stone, etc., you can say, okay, this is suddenly a high priority, this jumps to the top of the queue situation. So they've been using their trains less as a train that goes and just handles iron or one that just handles copper, and more of like a big bag of trains, sort of like Logibots, where they just handle whatever they handle. And then there's not a lot of finesse to the system, not a lot of customization. It's just a bunch of trains that go do a bunch of things. But that means they had to add every single one of these individually, which they found frustrating. So
imagine doing that for Bob's Mods.
Yeah, no. So they added a new special wildcard, which is called Any Item. So now they have a special wildcard that is go to any item, and then goes to item name drop. And we can see that the any item is in the train station title as well. So this happens to be picked up, iron ore, and is now going
to up iron ore, yes.
Yeah, so it's now going to iron ore drop automatically until, the amount of iron ore being 1.7k equals 0. So once it's run out of iron ore, then it will go and join back the great bunch of trains and go do other things. Yes. Which, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I think it's good. I think it's good.
Yeah. Simplifies the interrupts a lot.
It does. I can also see people making giant mistakes with this.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think to really make full sense of it, need to play around with it.
Yeah. And it does mean for things like Bob's mods, where there is literally 8,000 items, you don't have to go through and set each one individually. You can just use any and make sure that you name the stations correctly and hope that nothing goes bad. Yes.
Need the bearing balls for your bearings?
Oh my god. It's fine. It's
unnecessary.
fine until you find that the balls are needed for some other process earlier in the system. At which point,
they
yeah.
updated it. There used to be a lot of straight shot products like
Oh,
that.
there
It would be
are.
1, 2, 3, and it would only be used to make that one thing.
There are balls are generally used in bearings, but there was one situation where the balls were needed for something else, or the bearings were needed for something else. I had to run a whole belt backward through the bus to get something that it was annoying as hell. But yes. So we also have the similar signals for any fluid, any fuel, and any signal using these signals. So you can even use circuit conditions should you be game enough to attempt to do that. But that leads to the next question of, what if I don't have personal battery equipment Mark II drop-off? Don't put that in the train. Oh, also I should mention that any item is reading from the train cargo as well.
Yeah, so it says cargo not equal of any item not equal to 0.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the drop, and then it waits until cargo of that item equals 0. So
Yep.
and the train stop has to match. It has to have that item in its name.
Yes.
In some way.
In some way. Well, it has to be called exactly as it says. So this is, in the case of this, is called any item being a universal wildcard. We covered that a couple of weeks ago. And then the word drop afterwards. So it's looking for that item tag, that what do they call it?
Rich text.
Rich text. So that rich text item space drop. Yeah. So what if
I don't know if it's specifically drop. I think it just needs that tag, because it match that tag anywhere in its name.
Well, if you look on the left,
No reason why it can't.
It says iron ore space drop, which is a copy of this interrupt. I'm pretty sure it's wild card drop.
One of those things we'll have to see to find out.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens if I don't have personal battery equipment Mark II drop off? Important thing to make this system work is the game has to be fail-safe for drops that don't exist. In 1.1, if a train stop doesn't exist or is disabled, the stop is completely skipped or ignored in the schedule. This can create a big problem if a train can just decide to go again to pick up items whilst already full. So in 2.0, we've changed it so trains will know path for stops that don't exist. So if this automatically gets a personal battery Mark II drop station to go to, it's going to say no path, which could be problematic if this is on your main line. At which point...
It is a bit of an issue because, one of my outpost supply and trash system actually relies on the current behavior to work correctly, because it skips the ones that are set disabled.
Well, I've got bad news for you, Mojo.
Yeah.
Yeah!
I heard there's some bad news about that.
So according to the devs, this means the trains will never do something unexpected, and it will be the player's configuration error causing the train to wait around for better orders. Sure. Does it still skip if I decide to disable a stop with the circuit network? So this led us to another change in 2.0. Disabling stops will no longer cause trains to skip the station and repath. We have had the skipping behavior in the game for a long time, but effectively using it has always been a bit janky. Since we added train limits in 1.1, the usage has always been very limited and can cause a lot of problems if you approach this feature natively. For example, if you disable a stop while the train is en route, the train may very well be in a position where it can't path anywhere else for just turning around the corner to arrive. This would cause the train to no path while sticking out in the main line causing chaos for the rest of the trains. Also, if the train can't path suddenly because you turn off the station, it goes from max speed to a speed of 0 instantly on the main line. And if there's another train right behind it, one of the trains will have less pieces of the train afterwards. Yeah. So in 2.0, train stops will act as if they have a train limit equals 0. So it means if a train is on the way and the stop is disabled, it will continue to the stop regardless. And if a train is told to go to a disabled stop, it'll enter the destination full state and wait until it's enabled. Or it will skip to the next order if it has more orders in the list of stations, orders, schedule, whatever. And this change will...
In and of itself, it's not a terrible thing.
This works fine. And I had to confirm with you because if you have a train stop limit set with a limit of, say, 5, and there's 5 trains on the way, and you instantly change that to 0 or disabled now in 2.0, it means that the 5 trains that are on their way will continue. They'll continue on their way, and it just means no new trains can be scheduled.
Yeah,
which should be fine, because it does mean that if you wanted to turn on a station and have 5 trains come and pick up iron ore, you could do that. You could have it buffered at 5 times the normal amount and then have it turn on, and then you can read how many trains are on the way, can't you? I think you can with the circuit network.
Change the limit.
I think you can read how many trains are on the way to the station.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so you could read that, and as soon as you say, okay, there's 5 trains on the way, you can then disable it to turn that outpost off till those 5 trains have arrived and left with the cargo, and then wait till it's stocked up with 5 lots worth of cargo again to bring over 5 new trains. So just one of those nice features that I guess you could do now that you can't, well, you can do in the future that you can't do now. Yes.
I mean, as soon as train stop limits was introduced, my enable disable was pretty much eliminated straight away because of the janky behavior.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have the behavior consistent now, which means because having a separate enable disable control signal is very useful. That's separate, that bypasses the
train limit.
You can have 2 asynchronous, two isolated circuit systems.
Yeah, well,
so you can have like a master enable disable separate to some kind of system that allocates trains.
But you can have like an artillery drop-off station for an outpost or whatever. You could always have that as a train stop limit as 1, so a train can go there if it needs to go there. But also you can also hardwire that now to 0 if it has enough ammo. So
yeah,
it has multiple options. It could just keep doing the routes over and over and over and just topping everything up generally, right? But if it's like maxed out on artillery shells, just absolutely maxed out, it's good to go, you can just turn it off and set it to 0 as a hard limit train.
You can do that with a train stop anyway and just have it count the ammo and then set it to a limit of 0 by circuit network.
Yeah, but you could also now have a hard limit of train stop 1. So you could have 3 artillery reloading trains going around. And then if the boxes are over half full, set it to 0. If it's not half full, set it to 1. And you can have trains have the possibility of topping things up if needs be, but also not allowed to go to the station at all. Therefore, other stations get serviced. Right, because these are over half full, rather than waiting for them all to be finally full by having a hard cap on the boxes, which also means you need to have filtered boxes rather than just a general storage dump chest that you dump stuff into and go, it's good enough, roughly. Yeah, it's just options.
Do you ever reach a point where an artillery station is full of shells, though? That's the real question.
Yeah, I do often.
Feels like you're not firing them fast enough.
No, it's the range is expensive to research, and the biters don't expand fast enough. I've tried modifying them. Trust me, I've tried a lot, but they can't bring me that real Death World experience, not without really cranking up the settings and then, well, artillery trains.
That classic version 12 Death World experience.
Well,
biters.
It just means that artillery trains are not something you're going to get to, okay? It's well off the cards. You're not going to get as far as artillery. You're going to get as far as, I have a wall of fire, and I hope and a prayer. Artillery trains way off in the distance. Yeah, so another little change. And they do have an example for an artillery post that means just wiring up a chest to read how much of that ammo is left in it, and then enable to stop if the ammo is empty. This way you don't need to include any combinators to translate the lack of ammo back into a train limit. So it does have some nice quality of life features added at the same time. But then we also have alerts for no path, because currently if a train can't path, it gets a lovely little text line that
Red
says,
text.
"Yep, no path."
Path. It's
Somewhere.
been that way since forever, since for as long as trains have been there.
No, they didn't always have the no path.
Maybe not in version 9, but it's at least version 10, 11 has had it.
I think it was well after that. They had the white text part, no path at some stage, which has stayed there all the time, and now they have the little floating red text that says no path. Anyway, more trains have a chance of... More trains means more chance of something unexpected happening. In Space Age, where players' attention is split between multiple planets, is essentially important that players are made aware of problems in the train system. So it made sense to add an alert for when trains no path, because that's been on the list of things that would be very important to know for quite some time. Rather than a train sitting on the main line that says no path that you have no idea exists until you suddenly go, why is blah blah not working? And you see there is a queue of trains along the main line that can't get past one train who can't no path.
Because it turns out, it's actually fixed now, but there used to be this bug where a no-pathing train was invisible to other trains.
And they went through it?
Well, it's not that they went through it, it's just that as far as the pathing calculator concerned, there was no train there, and so they would just allocate a path through its position, and then they would queue up behind it.
That hasn't changed, has it?
Realizing there's a train there.
I don't think that's changed.
No, it has been fixed. It was fixed a while ago.
Okay, because I don't remember them having a penalty for a train that's no pathing having a penalty on a main line. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it exists now.
Oh, well, there you go. So, with the new generic interrupt, it means if a train picks up an item which you have no associated train stop, you'll be notified about it and decide how to solve it. Yes, don't put personal battery Mark 2 in the network. Okay, easier trains, zero train dispatching. Another annoyance which becomes more clear with larger train systems is the pain of creating and dispatching new trains. With the ability to blueprint trains, it's almost painless, but you still need to manually set them to automatic mode. No longer. Now when a train blueprint is fully built, importantly including fuel requests, it will switch to automatic mode. Which makes me realize something as we've been going over trains for a couple of weeks now, a couple of months now. They use a lot of 111s.
Yes.
Like a lot of 111s.
So it's interesting you bring that point up, because Kavorak says that he has over 600 trains in his current playthrough.
But if they're all 111s,
it means you have a lot of trains.
You have a lot of trains. Whereas most people for outposts, etc., especially outposts, they go for, 2-4, 4-8,
4-8,
6-12,
16.
Yeah, well, look, we're not going to go overboard, Mojo. We're not going to go for the trains that you park on the patch and just mine straight into the train.
I mean, 16 is standard for me now.
Yeah, how do you know you play too much Factorio? When your trains keep getting longer and longer and you're just not shocked about it at all. Loading something like that with...
committed to anything longer yet.
Yet. Loading something like that with green circuits could be an issue. Or blue circuits.
That's the only reason why I haven't committed to it.
Or blue circuits. But...
Blues aren't so bad, because they're only 100.
Yeah, but they're so expensive. Okay, red circuits. They at least stack to 200 still. Okay, loading a train of that size with some items is going to be very, very, very painful. But 111s really don't move around a lot of ore. And this is why you find a lot of players still, especially as we need to manually reset every train, have all the ore trains being considerably larger than all the non-ore trains, because ore gets moved around at such a low rate. Which does bring me to a new question and a new question for Mojo. Now with the new train updates and the universal trains doing all the universal things, normally you'd have a dedicated smelter somewhere so you didn't have to move the smelter around with the outposts. But you suffered that situation where you'd mine 50 ore per stack and then put it in a train and then move it somewhere and get 100 plates, so you double the stack density. Sure, there's productivity modules and all sorts of other things that, diminish that a little bit, but normally it's twice the capacity after it's been smelted. Do you now do mining and smelting on site? Because you have more little trains?
So I've done a lot of both. And I've found that it doesn't really matter.
I know it doesn't really matter.
They'll have their trade-offs.
But now you're going to have these wonderful universal trains that are possibly going to be smaller because occasionally you want to put red circuits into it, and a single wagon full of many red circuits is still a giant amount of red circuits. Does that mean you do more smelting on site?
I've been doing thinking about it when they first introduced it. I don't think it'll change much with the outposting trains. I mean, maybe all trains will become generic, but they wouldn't. They would still be on a separate system.
So you're going to still keep your ore trains as ore trains and slightly larger, and your other trains as other trains. Yeah.
It's like in the last several maps that I've done, I can't think of it. I'm trying to just going through all of them. There's at least 100 of each ore train.
Oh yeah, there's
Generally,
heaps. There's
200.
heaps.
And at that point, it's not really worth the effort to like. You don't need 400 train. If there's 200 copper, 200 iron, you don't need 400 going to either, because you're always going to need like at least bare minimum 100 and 100.
Yeah, you're going to have always 100 on the tracks moving at any one time, doing one or the other. Well, both.
Doing that
both,
specific job and never actually switching.
Yeah.
And introducing the switching is potentially introducing more failure, and so you just wouldn't do it. Having said that, though, with the circuit conditions and all the stuff brewing now, it does open up the opportunity of having a fully circuit switched dynamic smelter. Finally.
Yeah, apart from, what's the recipe? Stone. Stone is still going to be your issue.
Oh, yeah.
And
Stone
steel.
is problematic. What I mean is...
iron and copper. Iron and copper. Yeah.
It's really just iron and copper.
It's really iron and copper.
And then, at least for what we know now, I don't know about future ores like the titanium. Oh, actually, that's blast furnace anyway.
Ooh.
Any of the other ores.
Ooh. Well, now you have the stack inserter, the future stack inserter, not the current stack inserter, which will only grab a full stack at once. If you fix...
Pallet inserter.
What?
The pallet inserter.
Yeah, the pallet inserter. If you have mixed iron and mixed copper flowing down the same belts with a dedicated stack inserter for iron and ore and a dedicated stack inserter for copper ore, then you could flick the smelter's signal back and forth and change the rest. Actually, you can't change the recipe on a smelter. Maybe we can.
Change the recipe. It automatically switches.
Maybe you can in the future.
You don't need to change the recipe on a smelter. It automatically sets the recipe
I know.
when you shove the item in.
I know, but you then need to disable or enable the inserters to control what you're smelting.
As soon as it goes to the input goes to 0, if it's like set to iron and you put copper in, it just changes to copper.
Yeah.
You don't actually need any control.
You do if you want to prioritize more iron or more copper.
Yeah, but you would do it at this whole smelter line level. You wouldn't do it with the inserters.
Thoughts for later. Thoughts for later when we wait, because obviously you're probably going to use the blast furnace, and they already said there's an efficiency bonus for putting the fluids in the pipes, and then you need to work out whether you can have mixed fluids in pipes yet properly, in some sort of weird janky way. Yep, with many pumps you can force and mix fluids without some hassles. Yep. Okay. Well, anyway, continue.
Dealing with the productivity is the problem, though.
Ah, yes. So this last bit.
That's the elephant.
Yeah, because each time you swap recipes, you lose your productivity bonus. Although smelter's the last thing you get the productivity in, and now you're going to get it as a base productivity with the new foundry.
Productivity more means you don't care about losing the productivity bonus. It's more that you get odd numbers of items that don't fill trains, and so you need a way to deal with it.
Yeah. Okay. This last piece of the puzzle, if you did add another 5, 10, 20, 50 trains to your network, it's just a matter of stamping down your train blueprint as many times as you need. No further manual intervention necessary. Additionally, there's quite a few inconsistencies with blueprinting trains, bugs, and unexpected behaviors, which made it a little bit unreliable if the schedule and the blueprint actually stick to the new train, and if all the wagons would connect correctly, because occasionally you'd have a half a train or a 1.5 train, but yeah, I've had some odd combinations. So in theory, they're all fixed for 2.0 until they release it, at which point they'll be broken, and then we'll find more things that they can fix. Yes, trains top priority. So this is a new one. Trains generally prefer stations closer to them with static routes and limits, and the system worked okay. When you had individual train routes for each item, they also had some consistent level of service for that item. If you had 10 iron mines and 3 iron trains, then you'll always have some trains working on that route. However, with the new generic schedules and one big bag of trains, it could happen that all the trains are busy moving around advanced products closer to the base, i.e. closer to where the smelting is, and there's nothing to direct trains to the mining outposts, especially as the mining outposts are normally far away from the periphery of the base. That is until you run out of things for them to move around, like iron plates, at which point somebody has to go get iron ore, because there's nothing less for them to do, because they don't have enough iron ore coming in. So the system will eventually find an equilibrium. But yes, they're adding a waiting system. So you can add a priority and a waiting system to further away train stations to make sure that trains visit there more often. And the motivation here was the situation decommissioning old stations. We wanted trains already at the stop to get out of here, but oftentimes they would just sit and go, well, my destination's full. So another goal was when I tell the trains to go somewhere manually, I wanted to have priority. So they added this feature to the train stop priority. So now we have the train limit, plus we have a priority button, a priority slider. And the way it works, the priority of the train stop has 2 effects. When searching for a destination, trains will prefer a higher priority on the train stop. So they're going to look for the higher amounts. They default to 50 to start with, but the slider goes from 10 to 90, with you can manually type in any value between 0 and 255. So if you slide the slider all the way up to 90 for a train station you want to get rid of, then more trains are going to head to that station. But if you already turn the train stop limit to 0, more trains at that station will bugger off and go somewhere else, or at least have
over other trains.
Yeah, have a higher priority to leave the station and go somewhere else. Yeah. So yeah, trains at the highest priority stop. The priority is basically this station is important to come to, and also this station is important to leave. That's what the priority means. Yeah, it's a both edges of the sword at the same time. So yeah, there are some special cases where trains are given the absolute max priority of 255, and that is when a player manually tells the train to go somewhere. So if you jump into a train and put down a temporary stop to take me to the front line, or to that iron outpost that's been complaining for a while, or that train that's out of fuel, or that train that's no pathing, the train will get a maximum priority of 255, which means it definitely makes sure it gets there. On top of that, because it's now stuck in the main line doing nothing, it has an existing priority of 255, which means the first designation chance it gets, it's going to find somewhere else to go. Also, when a train has a no path or a destination full in the middle of the tracks, i.e. not waiting a train stop, i.e. Mojo disconnected the wrong tracks to the outpost, and all the trains that were either heading that way or coming back from that way can't get to the main line anymore, and they all complain.
Or chat launched artillery and broke the track again.
That happens too, but let's blame Mojo for once. It's his turn. The trains have
just a little bit of PTSD.
The trains have a priority of 255, so hopefully they find something else to do rather than sitting on the main line blocking the traffic. Which I guess as we're in adding the priority system, it's a good idea. I've never had a situation where I should mention currently, where I had trains at an outpost I wanted to decommission and they were hanging around and wouldn't go away. Because if they're...
Yep. I think this is something, we're not seeing this being a problem, but that's because we're not playing 2.0. I think these are all paradigm shifts that happen in Space Age.
Maybe.
And that's why we're not seeing these things.
Maybe.
In our own understanding.
But by the same token, if it's at an outpost that you want to get rid of, and you're decommissioning and deconstruction planning all the miners, the belts, the power poles, the everything, and the train station, if there happens to be a train parked at the train station, then
it's decommissioned as well.
It gets decom planted at the same time. It just ends up in the pocket. Done. Problem solved. I've never been like, oh, train, get out on the main line and go do some work. You've got nothing to do? Fine. In the pocket you go. Problem solved.
Or you get the special choo-choo train to clear the waiting trains.
No, that leads to too much collateral damage. I just use nukes, okay? Just walk out to the iron outpost, I don't want to carry home these miners. These are yellow belt. This is one of the first outposts. I don't want to take all those belts back to base, have them upgraded. Just nuke the whole thing and done. We'll move on. So, we also have icons for train statuses. Factorio veterans will know well the flying text pop-up of no path and destination full. Valuable information, but always felt like a big alien distracting, and some people also really hated seeing them in screenshots. Time your screenshots so they don't appear. Very important pro tip right here, time the screenshots. If you take like 30 screenshots back to back, chances are one of them will have the text not be on the screen. So, in 2.8, we changed it so these status icons are shown to the player with an icon drawn over locomotive. And we'll add the train status, added to the train status and GUI, to the GUI and the tooltips, yes. So, we have the no path, which is the question mark that has three questions, the flashy question mark.
Which is nice.
Yeah, I like that one. And we also have the no path, which is the train with destination full. Destination full is the sleepy's train.
It can't go there, so it's just going to sleep. That one I'm not so sure on because it looks very similar to the waiting for fuel to be delivered.
Oh, the blue one.
Yeah.
We have that in a picture, video.
Yeah, in the video just above, you'll see it flash up.
That's no fuel. Does it flash up? It's not there for long enough to flash up.
Yeah.
Because they have the fuel in the pocket. Yeah.
I think it also has the tooltip up. That doesn't have the tooltips.
Does it have alt mode on? Possibly.
Doesn't have alt mode, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have alt mode on. Yeah, you're right. It is very, very similar. Yeah.
So if you're flashing past it, is it asleep? Or what'll happen is you don't know if a train's waiting for fuel to be delivered or it's just asleep. You'll associate it with the train being sleepy.
Generally, you only see the waiting for fuel to be delivered when you first blueprint the train.
So when it's first built, it'll have no fuel, but then when it's partially filled, it'll change to blue.
No, it goes down blue to start with. It goes down blue to start with, and then if you have alt mode on, I'm sure if you have alt mode on, it goes down blue to start with and says waiting for fuel. If you don't have alt mode on, it does the flashing no fuel thing. I'm sure of it. I'm 98% sure of it. Yeah. But I do want to mention that if it gets some fuel, that blue icon will stay there because the blue icon is like, it's like modules.
When it gets some fuel, because that's where I see it the most.
I'm pretty sure I see it even if it doesn't have any fuel. But if you get some fuel in it, and this is where the danger of this blue icon comes in, if you get some fuel, because I copy and paste trains all the time, and they're being copied from an existing train. So they've got like 60, 90 coal in it, whatever it happens to be. You know, the 3 stacks of coal. So what's that, 150 coal? And I blueprint them down. I need 10 coal in them, because wherever they're going, there's going to be fuel loading at the other end. And then I'll tell them to go. And I don't bother clearing the fuel requests, accepting the bots will either get to it or they'll never get to it. I don't honestly care. And they can drive around. Sometimes I've seen them driving around for quite some time with that blue icon with a, please deliver me fuel. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had trains driving around like that. Yeah, it does show up with the blue triangle for delivering fuel as soon as you place it down.
See, I was right. I play this game far too much.
I don't even think about it anymore. But yeah, and it isn't affected by alt mode, so it has actually been changed. I think they might have removed it.
Okay.
Because it's not showing up in the video.
Okay. Yeah, definitely didn't show up in the video. Yeah.
Again, it's a thing we're going to need to see to fully understand and comprehend.
Yeah.
And that's true of all of this stuff. Is that, like, as I say, like, because the way trains work has changed so much in Space Age. I think a lot of it we need to see to really understand a lot of it.
A lot of things have changed the way trains work. Also, the space platforms is essentially a giant train.
Yeah.
Which is going to thoroughly, potentially complicate things a whole lot because you now potentially have a giant space platform that's going to be picking up all sorts of weird things according to your interrupts and taking them to weird planets according to your interrupts.
And you're going to need to deal with it somehow.
And
it's just giant grab bag of crap.
possibly need multiple space platforms doing multiple space platformy things using an any item drop-off wildcard to specific drops at specific planets. It's gonna get interesting. Yep. I wonder how much space debris there is, because every one of those space platforms needs to find a certain amount of asteroids to make sure it keeps itself fueled. Can you have too many space platform trains out there in space that you no longer have any fuel floating around in space to fuel your space platform trains?
I have a feeling the game doesn't really deal with that.
I don't know, but we'll leave that for the next Friday Facts. Anyway, that is up for us, unless there's anything else you want to add, Mojo?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I have no specific feelings either way.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I don't have any feelings on this one either.
I'm just playing into the generic thing from the very beginning.
Okay, you're going generic. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this.
I do actually like the changes. In all seriousness, but again, it's something that need to play around with to fully understand. And definitely the enable disable is going to change things up a bit.
The enable disable is something I can see myself using. As for the other things, the interrupts with the generic drops and stuff, in a vanilla Factorio, I don't see myself using it. Okay, that's not. We'll call the 1.2 2.0 expansion / DLC a large mod pack, so maybe I can see a use for it. In modded Factorio, I could see a use for it, definitely with things like Bob's mods, where there is like 6,000 items. And that's, I think, what's happening with the expansion of the DLC. Factorio is being written and updated in a way where it better supports these mods that have been available for a long time, that have a lot of extra items in them. And the devs are playing a game that no longer has, 300 total images of all the different items, intermediates, buildings, everything, because they have like 350 total, 380. I don't know. We did the maths, and they've done the maths for previous Friday Facts for every single item in the game. But there's lots of those items that you don't mass produce and move around, so it brings the whole recipe list and the items that you play with count down an awful lot. And now they're taking up to much larger amount. So you have a lot of things. If you want to put in an interrupt for every one of those items, it adds up your time. So yeah, it feels like future Factorio is going to be much better to play with mods in the future. Base game.
It's going to play nicer with the big mods.
Yeah, because the base game is turning into basically the equivalent of some of the large mods we've had previously and have for some time, like space exploration. But that is where we need to leave it, because we're out of time. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next Friday Facts. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
And insert Mojo's maths jokey. Okay, what? Chat yelled at me. Chat yelled at me because unsubs immediately.
JD.
Subs to Mojo.
Because of the future armor and
the future armor
thing.
Every day, media every day from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. There are countless murders, violence, extortion, adultery, but they don't say fuck because they have morals. What? Okay, DD Cardi, no idea. Jamot with a rip. This looks like LTN on steroids. It is. It's basically replacing LTN.
The best thing you want in life is to replace LTN with something that doesn't destroy your brain.
LTN's issue is it required you to wire
also,
with
did
combinators.
You actually mute the game?
Yeah, I did mute the game.
Okay, just checking.
I just unmuted the game. I should change categories again. Fuck, I hate changing categories. If you just stream without a category, problem solved.
It's not like anyone will find you anyway.
Yeah, this is true. Try playing Bobs and Angels together. That's why what I've been doing with C-Bus for a year now. Press any key. I choose you. Reset key. Oh, that key doesn't get chosen very often. Speaking of that, my reset button on my case doesn't work. I got no idea why.
Mine is one of those shielded buttons, so I basically can't press it.
Mine's not shielded. It has
I don't know why.
a button for
It's
power.
like tiny and kind of shielded, so you can't easily.
You can't get to it
with a stick.
Yeah, I've got a power button, the reset button, and then a change LEDs button. That's definitely not wired up, but I have a feeling the reset's wired backward. I plugged in the motherboard backward because I didn't bother looking, because in theory a reset shouldn't matter, but occasionally it does.
It's just a switch. There's no reason for it to. There is no backwards.
There is a backwards. There is a backwards. It's a very seldom, but there is a backwards. There is a backwards according to the switch. According to the switch on the case. If you have a case that requires you to press and hold the reset switch, then that needs to be wired the correct way around.
Well, that's handled by the motherboard, not by the case. It means that what it means is that they've wired the switch in a funny way.
Yep.
Like that, it's sharing a wire somewhere.
Possibly, I don't know. That's why we have mods to disable annoying flashing text for some people. We've got ads in 5 minutes, which is full of annoying flashing text, but yes. Losing a 2-8 train full of speed 3s. Yeah, that's happened more than once.
Definitely never done that.
Mm-hmm. Titanium, didn't you mean tungsten? He did mean tungsten.
Yes, I did mean tungsten.
Is the no fuel red, not blue? So the no fuel is red, but the I'm waiting for bots to deliver stuff looks like the module icon. Yes. You could be in just chatting. Try plugging in. As far as I know, it's plugged in. As far as I know, it's plugged in. Okay. As far as I know, it's plugged in. Oh, cool. We got more research done. All right, I'm meant to be conquering a planet. That's what I was meant to be doing.
Go back to concreting.
Conquering. All right, taking the neighbors and the friendly neighbors and killing them, kicking them off the planet. What was I going there for?
Yeah, concreting.
No, I'm
also important.
I'm not a fan of concreting the planets, honestly. I'm really not a fan.
Flat.
Mainly because I can't be bothered actually looking through the colors to get something that's semi-reasonable and not just bright red ghastly. Always be conquering, not always be crafting. I like it. Map view. How close are you? 0.31. I need you to go away a little bit. Are you missing more parts? Actually, I want to mouse over you. Are you close enough to me to mouse over? You are. Nope. I don't want the bridge, I want the hive. Oh fuck, you just what? No, yep. Central core. Matter. So you do have matter. So you should make new ships. I want the buildings on the backside, which are too far away. That's a photon receiver. Humpback port. Replicating. Oh no, it is making ships. It has 0 matter. No, never mind. It's not making ships. No, you're out of range. Okay. So down on planet with 22 friends. Oh, that's what I need. Ammo. Ammo seems important. Yeah, we're gonna go to the planet that has, I don't know how many friends it has. It has greater than 1. Ammo. Oh, and I don't have mods, so I can't see what's in the fucking towers. But science is running. Actually, science is limited by lab speed. Okay. Find ammo. And then ammo. Mojo!
Yes.
Have a koala.
Where?
Sitting over there on the table.
Oh. But
What?
it's not here.
Yeah, well, you haven't given me an address. So, Mojo's going to DM me an address. I don't care if it's his work address. I don't care if it's his grandmother's address. I don't give a shit. But if I don't get an address soon, I'm going to be mailing it interstate instead. Inter-country. And mail it to somebody else.
Mailing it to Germany or something.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about the US. Clear that. Can I take 1,000 rounds, please? Can I store more than 1,000 rounds? Oh, 1,000's the max. Oh, well. Okay. And then artillery.
Anyway, for now though, it's time to go.
You're off. No problem, mate.
Me.
Thank you for Friday Facts, as always. Video hopefully goes up by 2-ish.
2-ish. I'll keep an eye out.
What about 1 million gum leaves? I decided to lower the price to give me a freaking address so I can get rid of it.
See, I knew if I held out long enough.
I also know I don't need 1 million gum leaves. Ever.
Yeah, it's just clutter. It'll catch fire.
Yeah, I live next to a server. Nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong. Nothing can go wrong.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Anyway, see ya.
Later, mate. Bye.